Good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is doing amazing. Finally got myself a morning free, so I do apologize for any lack of videos or any lack of timings with these daily market outlooks. Yeah, but we have a morning free, so we are on the charts this morning. So this is your daily market outlook. It is the 26th of August. It's a Wednesday as well. So before we get into the charts, I want you guys to understand that the content on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing shared in my videos should be considered financial, investment, or trading advice. Trading and investing involves risk, and you should always conduct your own research before making any financial decisions. Any past performance discussed does not guarantee future results. You are responsible, as always, for your own financial decisions. So, Wednesday, we have some red folder news early hours of this morning with Australian dollar, which was a CPI, and then 2:30 we have basically US dollar news, which is core PCE price index. So obviously keeping an eye out on that. But other than that, nothing to discuss in regards to news. Let's have a look at what is going on with the dollar. So the daily time frame, we have been consolidating for quite some time now. This is going into our one, two, three, four, fifth day of consolidation inside of this daily demand area. So obviously, we're expecting to see either side broke out of here. We've discussed this anyway. Either side broke out. So that we can obviously look for better trading conditions. But at this moment in time, we've got to deal with what we have. So right now, we're inside this daily demand, but we have been descending with the market structure. You can see we've had mini pullbacks, descend again. Are we going to get a mini pullback and start to obviously have that trend going downwards again? Let's see. Now, going into the four, we can see that the 4 hour supply area, which I discussed with you guys, has literally played out perfect. You can see since Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday, we've been inside of this supply area, and we've had a beautiful reaction away from there. And obviously, now at this moment in time, from a 4 hour, there's not really much to discuss. All I would like to see personally is, could we see, this low broke? So could we see market just carry on trending downwards? That is my first, thought. Obviously, looking at the condition that we're in currently with the sideways movement, we need to see something. We need to see the market break either side of this so that we can have a better setup. But yeah, looking at the full, you can't really discuss much. If we go down into the 1 hour, it's a little bit more clearer. You can see the fact that we had the 1 hour internal structure bullish into that 4 hour supply area. So you can see that we're creating them higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, so on and so on. And then it went into that downwards trend. So at this moment in time, what I am waiting for personally is, well, number one is we're obviously in this downtrend away from this supply. So that is one confirmation. The next confirmation I have is we have taken out Asian high here. So we're taking out Asian high. So what I am currently waiting for is I want to see if we can get a nice candle closure next, and then that might open the possibility of looking for a supply area, 1 hour supply area. Now, as you guys can see, we have at this moment in time 18 minutes left on this candle. This candle was looking nice until the past couple of minutes. So at this moment in time, I'm not interested. I'm not going to take any trades with how this candle is looking. Like I said, unless we get, a nice candle, a nice couple of candles, away from this area, which then allows us to look for that pullback and potentially get that Asian entry model one, because the Asian entry model one has taken that, we've taken that Asian high. So let's see what happens with that. Euro USD. Again, we can go into the daily, and what you can see is we had a reaction from this supply area. We're still waiting for market to come into these lower parts down here. Again, nowhere near that at this moment in time. And we've got a lot of imbalance to fill. But if we go into the four, you guys will be able to see the fact that From this 4 hour, we've obviously had markets start to obviously drop away. Now, obviously, if we're looking at a dollar, we're expecting the dollar to carry on bearish from this supply. Then, of course, we would expect bullishness coming in from Euro USD. Now, the tricky thing with Euro USD at this moment in time is we're in no man's land. We're just reacting out of a small imbalance. We're not reacting out of any sort of demand area. So 4 hour is kind of out of the window if we do go bullish. We obviously had this 4 hour supply because market started to trend downwards, from this supply. And again, it just depends on what the dollar is doing. If the dollar starts going bullish, then this supply will stick. This 4 hour supply will stick. But again, if the dollar does the opposite, then this 4 hour supply will not stick and we will start to go bullish. Now, if we go down to the 1 hour can give us a better understanding, I guess, where if you look at Asian, you can see that we've taken Asian low. We've come back into this area of demand that we have. You can actually refine that now to this body, 1 hour demand. If we go probably down to the 30 to 15, you'll be able to see the fact that we probably have a little bit, maybe a little bit more clearer. Not actually that much. Go down to the 10 minute. Not that much to be fair. But if you look back at the 1 hour, you can see it is still a valid demand. Markets come into that, that's slowed down. We've taken out Asian low here. So again, it's just obviously thinking, okay, what is the dollar going to do? Because if the dollar does give us an entry model one, then obviously what we can see is at this moment in time, I don't like it, but if it does give us an entry model one to participate, then we obviously look for the same on here. So depending on what the dollar does, if the dollar is nice, then what I would do is this would open up this area as a 1 hour demand. So if the dollar can give us a nice, we've got 15 minutes left. If it can give us, like I said, a nice reaction, meaning the body closure, similar to how these body closes here, then we can obviously look for shorts on here, entry model one, and then potential longs on here, entry model one. So let's wait and see if that plans out. Great British Pound, US dollar. Daily time frame. Again, same as the dollar. It's been consolidating for quite some time. We've obviously taken out these highs here. Ideally, you guys will know what we want to see is market rebalance itself, so filling this imbalance, tap into a demand area, and then go and create that new higher high. So daily time frame, not much to discuss. We're still waiting for market to potentially come down into these areas, or because we consolidated, if we break up now, this will be our new demand area where the consolidation is. So going into the four, very, very, very ugly at this moment in time. We still have this 4 hour demand area here. Now, for the past few days, GU has just been consolidating. I got hit out a break even on this 4 hour supply because we failed to break this low. So I'm going to get rid of this now and just have a look at a clear chart. Oh, what the hell is going on there? I'm going to have a look at what is going on with this now because at this moment in time, you guys will probably, well, you should do anyway, you should agree that this is just a unhealthy market to even try and look to, trade on. So from a four, we do have this demand area here. Now, of course, that would have to make sense with the dollar going bearish. So if the dollar, for instance, goes bearish, has a pullback, and then when we're inside of the dollar's supply, like a new 1 hour supply area, if we're inside of this forward demand, then it could make sense to participate in dollar longs. That could be obviously one scenario, right? Now, of course, if the market decides to go lower, because what we could potentially be doing is if we look at what is going on today? If you look at this scenario with the dollar, what have we built up? We've built up a hell of a lot of liquidity. You can see we have a lot of liquidity below, obviously, these lows. All of these lows are, money, it's liquidity. So you have to understand that if the market decides to go lower, we have imbalance, we have liquidity, and we also have demand areas to potentially come in and fill in. Let me just get rid of this imbalance. Demand areas below, which we could potentially come in and tap into. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. If we do go lower, what I'm basically trying to say is we're going to swipe out all of these lows, fill in the imbalance that we have around here and also lower, and then market can potentially go and give us that next leg up. That's for GU. NZUSD, our favorite. Let's have a look at what's going on. So daily time frame. Yeah, not much that I can talk about with the daily. We are waiting for me personally. Let's get rid of this. We are personally waiting for, or I am personally waiting for, to see if market is going to obviously potentially retrace and then go away from this demand. Now, of course, one thing I can obviously identify is the fact that if you look at this scenario, you can see that market went bullish, pulled back here on the lower time frames, and that's why market is stalling in here. Is it a daily demand? Well, not necessarily for me, but technically, if you look at the four, it aligns with the 4 hour. You can see that that's where the market pulled back and went bullish again. So you can see this morning we have obviously tapped into this demand area, and we've had a great reaction from there. So look, if the dollar is going to be bearish long term, this is a perfect scenario for us to just carry on bullish. Again, that would have to make sense if the dollar is going to carry on bearish. That would be a beautiful setup, and we can obviously then look for more potential setups. If we look at the 1 hour, if we look at the one, it aligns perfectly where we've mitigated this. In fact, I'll mark this out, this 1 hour supply. Yes, the four, but this 1 hour supply demand area here. As you guys can see, that is a 1 hour demand. Took out this low, took out Asian, and then we can obviously start to see that expansion. But again, I'll have to wait and see what the dollar does. If the dollar does carry on bearish, then yeah, NZUSD should carry on bullish. We have 10 minutes left on this candle. It doesn't look like the dollar is going to give us that nice candle we want to see. But if eventually it does, then what we could wait for, let's say that if we get a nice candle like this, we could then have a possibility of this being our next 1 hour demand area. And then obviously you can look for this. But at this moment in time, we don't have that because the dollar is being annoying. So let's wait and see. AUD USD. So AUD USD, you guys can see, let's just remove this. We didn't come into that demand area, but we filled in a lot of that imbalance, and then we started to get that bullishness away. So, the bulls have been in control with AUD USD. We jumped down to the four. For me personally, I was waiting for this demand. Again, AUD USD is not my favorite, as you guys should know. It's been missing a lot of the demand areas recently, and that's why it's not one of my favorite ones. So yeah, at this moment in time, we've reacted from this little trap area here, but it went lower, so we don't really class that well. Let me have a look actually. Yeah, it's reacted from this little trap area here where we had a mini pullback probably on the 1 hour. And then we've gone bullish. Too much imbalance below for me to participate in this. If I look at the one, you guys can see that this little area here is where market came into. Again, same scenario, too much imbalance below for me to participate in. Now, what I am potentially looking for is there's two scenarios. There's either Asian entry model 1 or Asian entry model 2, depending on where the dollar is, because we do have this demand area below the Asian 1 hour demand. We have lows and imbalance. So scenario number one is if we get this into this demand, that could be the entry model 1 that we're looking for. Now, if scenario number 2 is we might just get a pullback into here without taking Asian low. Now, what does that mean? No, that means just Asian entry model 2, where we want to see obviously this. So keep your eye out for that with AUD USD. It's a lot more cleaner, in my opinion, for the 1 hour, should I say, than it is with other pairs at this moment in time, like your GUs. Pardon me. So yeah, Definitely keep an eye out on that with AUD USD. USD CAD. So go to the daily. We have officially started to go a little bit bullish inside this daily supply. We can now obviously mark out this daily supply area here. Um, so yeah, look, are we going to go bearish from here? Well, if you're looking at this, that's what we expect. But again, it just depends on obviously what is happening with the dollar. If you look at the four, what can we see? Well, for me personally, again, the floor has been disgusting. It doesn't even look clean. So I want to see how we react when we get into this supply. A 4 hour, I'm not going to discuss because I don't like the look of, but if we look at the 1 hour, can we see anything a little bit different? Um, we obviously have these 1 hour demand areas which we didn't, mitigate. For me, we have this demand area here, which is why market's reactive, but it's still not the cleanest. So for me, I don't like the look of these. If the dollar's reactive from that forward supply, we do have this one supply area here. So that could be one scenario, but again, it's just USD CAD is disgusting. We haven't obviously had this reaction. What has USD CAD done? Well, USD CAD is just kind of like done its own little thing. So yeah, USD CAD I'm not a favorite of. If you guys obviously like the look of it, you guys can trade it. But for me right now, USD CAD is not my favorite. I want to see this forward supply area potentially met up here. If you look at the four, for me that would be the better option. But if we get that, I don't know. USD CHF, let's have a look at this as our last pair. Beautiful reaction from this demand area so far. And as you can see, we've been bullish away from there. We've got this supply area up here. If we just jump into the four, you can see that has been pretty corrective. You can see that it's just missed our entry. We had a beautiful reaction on Monday away from this demand, been bullish, market come back into where? Well, we had this small imbalance from this wick to that wick. Unfortunately, it didn't tap into our demand area. So obviously it's a bit annoying because ideally that would have been a beautiful trade. But yeah, if we look at the 1 hour, you can see that right at this moment in time, it's going to be interesting because USD CHF looks clean for bulls, whereas at this moment in time, US dollar looks better for bears for selling. So it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. Now, what's happened during Asian, we've been bullish. If the dollar carries on bearish, and if that means that we potentially carry on bearish on USD CHF, it would be from this supply. But again, is the US dollar giving us all the confidence for selling right now? No, it's not. So if it's not, then USD CHF is just going to carry on bullish. It'll break above this supply. So keep an eye on that. Depending on what the dollar does, if dollar does go bearish, we expect USD CHF, and it could be away from this supply. But again, it is looking perfect for bulls, which is a little bit tricky. If you go into the four, you can see that we have created this. Oh, let me just mark that out. From the start of this imbalance here, this 4 hour demand area here. So ideally, if USD CHF was to carry on bullish, then that will be my next area of interest. Um, so yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Again, the dollar's peeing me off at this moment in time, as it has been for a lot of you guys as well. But it is what it is. This is part of trading. This is the part of trading that no one teaches you about because on social media, everyone makes trading look as easy as possible and looks like everyone's making money and it looks like it's you can make it in 5 minutes time, blah 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 blah. And we obviously know that these guys are scammers. So yeah, man. Other than that, guys, I will catch you tomorrow. Have an amazing Wednesday. Take care as always, and God bless.